Hi everyone, back on with the Model B, which I've mentioned in the past, the electric start one, 1940. It hasn't changed much since the last video I did. Obviously work has intervened. I haven't quite got the Model H wheels painted yet. Got them in undercoat, but not into the yellow, mainly due to work commitments. So I'm just about to start to strip this down. I did eventually get the engine to free off. I have mentioned it was seized. It, with all the liquids and stuff I've put in, it now does move, which is good. Eventually let go and free it away, so that's a good sign. So I've just been having a bit fiddle with the carburettor. And when I got this tractor, the carburettor had suffered like a lot of these DLTX carburettors. Someone had forced the nut at some point in its life and sheared off the threading on the bottom of the carburettor, and therefore the float chamber can't be reattached due to the nut not actually fitting any threads. So I did a bit of research, and everything seems to have been done on these carburettors over to make that a repair of everything from brazing more threading on, brazing an old spark plug on, which is the same threads. But I thought I'd go down the engineering route, and I made this in the lathe. I first got the carburettor mounted in my 4-jaw chuck, got it all centralised, drilled the hole out in the stem, making sure not to go too far to upset things. And then I tapped that with a 3/4 UNF thread, and then I threaded I made a piece of bar, got a piece of bar and threaded the 1/2 with it with a UNF die, which screws in like so, which I intend to lock tight in so it can't come undone. And then I threaded this piece with a UNS die, 7/8 die. Bit of an oddball size that, UNS, I've not come across it. So I threaded that, you screw it in, and hey presto, nut on, nice and tight, or it will be once the gaskets are in. As I say, let's come out with this nut, that I'll Loctite that into the stem. You've got to be careful to make sure that you put a bit of a groove in, or don't block these two holes of this in particular. This is the load jet, which screws in through the bottom here, and you can open and close when the tractor's under load, letting more fuel to the main jet, which is goes inside. Like so. I've got that. That's how I remove my main jets. Just tap them with a 10mm tap, get a bolt, screw it in, put a little slide hammer on, and it pulls them out. Seems to work alright for me. So as I say, screw that in there. Hopefully the holes are lined up so it's good. Loctite it in, put your jets back in, or jet, put your bowl on, put your nut on, and hopefully you've got a serviceable carburettor again. well, you will have a serviceable carburettor again. The carburettor itself on this particular instance is in very good condition, other than it had been snapped off. I think people see that big nut, put a big spanner on it, and of course they neck off. The problem with them is, if they stand for any length of time, water collects in the bottom of the bowl, and if I do like the nuts there, it gets into the bottom of the nut and seizes the casting into the steel nut and locks it all up. Big spanner, bang, snapped off. I have seen them where they're sheared off through the stem further up, which I suppose you could try and braze it together if you had the piece, but if they go up here, then they're near enough far right off. I have seen them repaired, but they do seem to leak. They don't seem to get very good seal on the bowl and the carburettor. Anyway, so there we go. I thought it was pretty good repair, that. And it saves me having to find another carburettor core. This carburettor will need total new jets, seals, gaskets. Seals, well, there's not many seals in them, but gaskets. And a good clean. But, they're quite a simple carburettor. There's nothing complicated to them. I mean, people make them out to be quite complicated. They're not complicated. They're one of the simplest carburetors I've ever come across, really. The biggest thing with these is to make sure you have no air leaks, especially on the inlet side of the valve, the throttle valve. It's one of the biggest problems with these. I've seen it several times now. Tractor's bad to start, and it's because there's air leaking past the throttle valve shaft bush. Once you get that sealed back up nice and tight, start again like a treat. Anyway, thought that might be of interest to people. So there you go. As I say, I'm quite happy with that. Okay, thank you.